Hey, what's up? Ian here, and today I'd like to talk about this Zhulinniao Shuanghua. It is a single dynamic driver IEM, and the retail price for this is just 18 US dollars. And if you guys are interested, do check out the unaffiliated link in the description below. Honestly, I'm not too sure who sent this to me, but I'm just gonna lead you guys to the AliExpress store of Zhulinniao. It's unaffiliated, by the way. So anyway, in this video I'm going to go through the accessories, design, build quality, fit and comfort, my sound impression, and I'll conclude if this is worth your 18 US dollars or not. This video will have time chapters, so please feel free to skip to the different chapters that you are interested in. Okay, so let's begin. First with the specifications, which is at the back of this box. As I mentioned, this is a single dynamic driver IEM, and it's a 10mm LCP driver. The impedance is 32 ohms, sensitivity is 108, and the frequency range is 20 to 20,000 Hertz. As for accessories, inside the box you'll find a lot of stuff. Okay, the user guide, drawstring pouch, 4 different types of ear tips. You've got your small, medium and large for these 2 ear tips. One is a wide bore, the other is a normal bore. Okay, and you got foam tips as well that comes with a ear tip case, okay, and a cable clip, right? And you get this ear tip here, which is I don't know, I've never seen this type of ear tip, so if any of you have seen this and know where to get this, please let me know in the comments below. But I love this ear tip, very unique and very nice as well, so I like this ear tip. So 4 different types of ear tips, and yeah, and the cable. Now cable, I'm not a big fan of this cable. It's kind of grippy, it grips onto itself, it tangles quite easily, it's not really manageable, and yeah, so not a big fan of this cable. But you know, it terminates with a 3.5 headphone jack, or there's another version which terminates USB-C, so I would do strongly to get the other one that terminates USB-C. And then over here you have your Y splitter and chin slider, and then you get a microphone, and I love the microphone on this. I've been using the microphone for my phone calls, my conference calls, even gaming as well. I've been using this microphone, and you know, the other end can hear me very well on this microphone. So actually I like this microphone very much. And the cable is non-detachable from the IEM, so if you were to break or fray this cable, then you might have to buy a new one, so that's the unfortunate part. But yeah, I think they want to save costs, and you know, basically this is part of the cable, part of the IEM as well. Right, so let's talk about the IEM. The design of this is actually pretty standard. I mean, it's a, you know, it's a bullet style type of IEM, and the faceplate has got the Zhulinniao logo here. And then on the inner shell is actually, I mean, the inner shell is actually pretty long, as you can see. The entire shell is, I think, it's plastic, nozzles, yeah, perforated metal mesh. Okay, so that's for the design. The build of this is actually okay. I mean, it's 18 bucks. I'm not expecting much. In terms of fit and comfort, yeah, well, it fits my ears pretty well, and I can, you know, wear this the entire day with no pain, no fatigue as well. I mean, it's a bullet style, so it doesn't have any odd shape or anything like that that press on my ears, just goes into my ear. And the thing that is holding the weight of the entire thing is not resting against my ear, so the ear tip is the one that, you know, goes into my ear canal and holds it in place. Right, so in terms of seal, I love this ear tip, and it gives me a very good seal. So yeah, I like this ear tip, so I've been using a stock ear tip, which is this one. So yeah, seal is very good on these ear tips. Right, so that's for the fit and comfort and seal. Now let's talk about the sound. Let me just put all this one side first. Alright, so let's first talk about drivability, and these are pretty easy to drive. I use them with my iPhone, my Android phone, my iPad, my dongles, DACs, and my DAPs, and I've been listening to it at about 30 to 40%, and it's pretty comfortable listening level. So yeah, I would say this is pretty easy to drive. You can drive it with most of your source. Now let's talk about the suitable and yeah, I guess matching sauce, which I would recommend. I would recommend something that is not too warm and not too technical as well. So maybe the high Bs, right? The high B is actually pretty good. I think the M15S is okay, but it's not the best option. And then the Xiangling M0 Pro is definitely too bright. This is actually a very bright IEM, but yeah, this is a bit too much. And then in terms of warmth, this is too warm. The Walkmans are a bit too warm for it, too rounded for it, I would say. iPods are still okay, but it's still a bit too rounded for it as well. So yeah, I guess the high Bs are pretty suitable for it. And then in terms of DACs, I would say the EPZ, TP20, Crystal is okay with it, but not the best option. Yeah, I still prefer a little bit warmer than the Crystal. So yeah, TP20 is actually pretty good for this. Now let's talk about the tone and timbre for this. Now the tone and timbre for this is kind of a mixed bag for me. It's not a very natural tone and timbre. It's warm at the same time is technical, right? As analytical type of timbre. It's a bit light in the note weight. At the same time, it sounds a bit warm as well. So yeah, this tone and timbre is a little bit unique, I would say, and because the tuning is also quite niche, all right, it's pretty unique kind of tuning, which I'll explain later. So I guess yeah, for this earphones is kind of unnatural to me. Okay, now let's talk about technicalities. Technicalities of this is average, I would say. In terms of soundstage, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not the widest. It's wide to the sides only. Got maybe a bit of depth, but not much. It's not too big of a soundstage. And in terms of imaging, sound separation is pretty okay as well. In fact, I can tell where the instruments are most of the time. Okay, so imaging is pretty good. Sound separation is okay. Sometimes it's a bit of a one note. Can't really identify where instruments are like mixed up together. So, but most of the time they're pretty okay, pretty separated. In terms of details, right, this is actually very detailed, very nice, and I can pick up a lot of nuances on this tuning. So in terms of details, very, very good details. In terms of resolution, I find that it's okay. It's a bit above average, but other than that, it's nothing much to shout out about, but it's yeah, pretty resolute. Okay, so that's for the technicalities for this. Now let's take a look at the graph of this, and yeah, can you guys see? So this is the graph of the Zhulinniao Shuanghua. So as I mentioned, right, this tone and timbre is a little bit on the odd side, and it's because of this tuning. So it's not much of a V shape. It's kind of a U shape with the emphasis of the treble. So treble here is actually more prominent than the bass. Bass is okay. It's not a heavy bass. In fact, it's very light bass, but it's got a mid bass focus. At the same time, a mid focus kind of tuning. So I would say this is very niche type of tuning, and it's not for everyone, right? Most people will find this a bit odd, but those of you who likes treble and also mid-centric would find this quite enjoyable. Okay, now let's talk about the sub bass. Sub bass is rolled off, and it's not a very prominent sub bass. It's a little bit of light sub bass. The rumble is a bit lackluster, I would say, and those of you who likes bass and expecting a very prominent rumble, this IEM is not going to give you that. So, but it's there, right? It's sufficient. If you listen to bassy songs, this will give you that rumble, but yeah, it's not going to be very extended and not going to sound very naturally rolled off. Okay, in terms of mid bass, this is very punchy, but it's not a very warm punch, right? It's a light punch, but it's impactful. The slam is there as well, and it's prominent type of slam, but at the same time it's a bit light on the note weight and bright as well. So it's again quite unnatural in terms of the mid bass, and it bleeds as well to the mids, so you can feel that impact. At the same time, listen to your treble. So yeah, a bit unnatural as well. So yeah, if you like this type of bass, then you know, this would sound good to you, but in terms of lack of rumble but prominence of the impact, and also a very bright impact, you know, that's a kind of a mid bass you hear, okay, for this IEM. Now, in terms of mids, it's also a mixed bag for me. Some instruments, they sound really good, and some instruments, they sound a little bit lackluster. For example, for cellos and those double bass, right? They've got that impact there, like the strum, the pluck of that, the strings, they sound really impactful and prominent, but the extension of that bass is a bit lacking. Okay, so yeah, it depends on, you know, whether you like this type of mid kind of bass, and then for the upper octaves kind of instruments like the violins, the flutes, the electric guitars, they actually sound very bright, very energetic, and very forward, very clean, very clear, and very detailed as well. So actually, I do enjoy listening to quite a bit of instruments on this IEM, and they sound really detailed. So yeah, I do like listening to instruments on this. And as for vocals, I prefer listening to female vocals on this. They sound very energetic, and they are bright, very bright, and very detailed and clear as well. Note weight is a little bit on the lighter side, more of an analytical type. And for male vocals, they have that impact there. The authority is a little bit lacking without the rumble or the you know, the roll off of the rumble. I mean, they sound good. It's just that a bit unnatural at times. Okay, but yeah, I still prefer listening to female vocals on this, and they sparkle. Female vocals, they sparkle on this IEM, and on certain tracks, they just gets me going. You know, that emotional connection starts to come. So yeah, I like listening to female vocals on this. Now let's talk about the treble. Treble, the gain on the treble is actually pretty good, right? Very good gain, very energetic, quite present as well. It's not harsh, all right? That's the main thing. It's not harsh, but it's a little bit shouty and a little bit sibilant, right, at the tail end. But in terms of the initial gain, right, to the treble, cymbal strikes, hi-hats, they sound pretty good, right? They've got that impact there, that energy there when it comes into the track. So yeah, I like that initial gain to the treble. Now, once it comes to the presence, it's a very bright, as I say. Normally, for people who tune IEMs, they normally tune it down, lower, right? To lower the brightness and make it a little bit more tolerable. But this one, it goes the other way around, and is very present. All right, it's very present, very bright, a little bit sibilant at times, because you know, this part here, even though it dips down, but it dips back up after 8K, right? So to me, it is tolerable, okay? But some people, especially for those who are sensitive to treble, this is gonna sound sibilant to you. But for people like me, I find this very engaging. Okay, so call me weird or what, but I like this type of treble. So yeah, if you are like me, you will definitely enjoy the treble on this IEM. Cymbal strikes, hi-hats, guitars, electric guitars, they sound really energetic and bright and sibilant sometimes. Okay, so yeah, I like this intensity of the treble, and in terms of the air, it's a very airy treble, and it's got very good spaciousness to the treble, and it rolls off very nicely, and I like the overall trail off of the treble. Some people may not like it. Some people may find it a little bit unnatural. It lingers a little bit too long, but yeah, for me, I like it. It sounds good for me. Okay. Right, so that's for the entire tuning for this, and I would say this is kind of a niche type of tuning, whereby the focus or the emphasis is on the treble and the mids and the mid bass. Okay, and what you get in terms of this combination is that if you're listening to genres like female vocals, solos especially, orchestras, jazz, and electronic music, right? If you like listening to electronic music, this actually is a very, very good IM to go for. But if you listen to, if you're a bass head and you like your bass and you want more bass, this definitely will not give to you that kind of bass. Like heavy metal, hip hop, trance, those kind of thing, you will not get that kind of bass. But if you like vocals, then this sounds pretty good, female vocals especially, right? So that's my overall impression, and well, to conclude, for $18, firstly, this is value for money. It's definitely value for money. 18 bucks, you're getting a lot of stuff. Ear tips, especially this ear tip, I'm not too sure again where this ear tip come from. And then you get a lot of accessories. You got your drawstring pouch, you get your 3 different types of ear tips, and yeah, microphone. Okay, and if you get the USB-C version, the better. You get to connect to your phone without any adapters. So in terms of value for money, is definitely value for money. And in terms of tuning, again, if you are like me, you like this kind of niche type of tuning, this kind of unusual tuning, then yeah, it's definitely a recommendation from me. But if you're sensitive to treble and you really have a very low tolerance for treble, then definitely will not recommend this to you. But for those of you who likes this type of intense treble, then yeah, this is definitely a recommendation from me. Right, so that concludes my overall impression and review of this Zhulinniao Shuanghua. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and learned something from this video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So that's it for now. I hope you guys have a great day ahead, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.